Hotapu everyone. This is Nesubwata Ra Sumabatabemi, the world's first openly African black gay king. And a king's role is to nourish and protect his people. And today I wish to give you a very brief analysis of how the ancient Kamau saw what we would call God. The way we look at this is to look at their own language. And this glyph here, this axe glyph, is the word netjer. You see written here, netjer or netjer, where the word nature comes from. So the first thing we see in the spelling of the word, it resembles the word nature. So God is nature. And I have an issue using the word God because it's a Germanic word, Gott, and I'm not Germanic, and we shouldn't try to use the word from one language to describe what a certain other group saw as the meaning of that word. But for conversation's sake, we'll say God. So we have the glyph here of an axe, and there is here a glyph of a god. This means a divine being, a god. These are also versions of the axe glyph, the netjer hieroglyph. And down here we have the glyph again, the axe with a hawk on a standard. And we have it spelled out phonetically here, ntr. Okay, so different versions or expressions of the same hieroglyph and its word. But the word netjer, nature, has other meanings in its roots. So let's look at the word in the dictionary of glyphs. The word net, the root of netjer, means to sprinkle, to flush, to flow, or to gush out, to pour. It means netta or net, the same root, rule, order, a canon, meaning a structure, statute, a law, a formula. Okay, so it means to pour out formulas, to pour out rules, to pour out order. Okay, and we have here the word netjer. Let's see here. Netjer, netjerti can mean the two eyes of Ra, the sun and the moon, linking it to celestial phenomena. So we see that the word netjer meant the one who gushes out, pours forth formula, equations that create celestial bodies, meaning the universe. That celestial body correlate of the sun and moon is very important because if we look here at this image, this is a mathematical model by science of the Big Bang, how it looked. And this point here, this red point here, or in this image, this Big Bang point here, is the point of origin. And the universe expanded, what's called the expanding universe. But look at the shape it's making. It resembles the blade of what? Of an axe. You see the blade here? You see the blade here? Okay, this blade is more triangular, and this one, this model is a bit more triangular. And this one is an almost exact blade, this gray outline here of this image is an almost exact blade of an axe. So this is how the universe began. And so the Kamau would say, not the Big Bang, but the big chop, the big whack. When you chop wood, you take a hole, a tree or a stump, you chop it, there's a lot of heat that makes contact with the chop, and there's an explosion of particles, of bits of tree. Slices, small particles, small chunks, small strips of bark. There's an explosion of particles when the axe makes kinetic and dynamic contact with the wood. So we can say netjer is the great axe that made the big chop. he chopped a unity, a tree, with great force, a big bang, called the Great Whack, which made the wood explode into many pieces and parts and particles. Okay, which we see here, these parts and particles that made the universe. So the actual hieroglyph for the creator, what I call the great scientist, some call the creator, I call the great scientist, netjer, the great creator of nature, of netjer, the actual hieroglyph shows the expanding universe mathematical model of the Big Bang and the subsequent growth of all things. So you may ask, where's the handle? This is the blade of the axe, but where's the handle? Well, that's an important mystery that's not so mysterious they left for us. The one who wields the handle is invisible. You see? Here we have the handle, but if you took this glyph, I might be able to do it here with my Microsoft Word. If I were to flip it like this, okay, this glyph becomes, and you just add here a little hand, it becomes the word for arm. So it's like the word for arm minus the hand, okay? Implying this glyph is like the word for arm minus the fingers and the hand part. It's like the invisible hand. The netjer glyph is both the expanding universe here, this axe shape, plus an implied arm hieroglyph without its hand. An arm means strength, like an army, well armed. Those words of arm linked to strength, might, war. So the word netjer also means strong and mighty. If we go here, let's see here, we will find it. The word netjer means strong, mighty, powerful. Here it is, netrer, another root of it, power, divinity, strong, like a strong arm. Okay? So, we can say netjer means the strong-armed scientist who wielded the axe of creation. An axe separates things. What did it separate? The whole or the homogeneous universe into parts. Okay? So, one last little note I wish to make here on this particular drawing, this first XXA, it shows these lines and these strange squares. Okay? These squares have a diagonal cutting through them. What's called the square root. So it shows you that there are realms of materialization, because the square means the material world, and the material world is divided by its square root, and the square root is a function in math that creates proliferation and expansion. Okay, so we're seeing here squares and rectangles with their square roots, and if you were to trace your eye with all the diagonals, it makes a kind of wave shape here. This zigzag shape here is the same water shape you see here, this waving glyph down here for water. So this wave means sound waves. Letter N here, sound waves. T means mass or matter or womb. And R means a vibrating string or warping and bending. So netjer, the letter N means sound waves, matter, and vibration, of a vibrating string. So create sound waves in matter that vibrate. God is the one who creates through sound material vibrations. Okay, so that's our definition of netjer, the great scientist. I pray you enjoyed this and gave you food for thought. Remember, no matter what happens in life, always look up. Why? Because you are a star of netjer, Dwawan Hotepu.